and gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule on Triller is back. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Milking Mario Lopez. We'll talk about your Sunday later.
That's right. What's going on, Korean Cosell?
We've got a lot to talk about, but first
do.
we are joined here by Smokin' Tim Frazier, Justin Buffalo Knuckles, and
Tino
on the edit. You're there ringside, Honda Center, Anaheim, California on the zone. And middleweight, Jaime Munguia moves to 38-0, 30 knockouts, but he scored a 12-round decision over the game rugged Gabe Rosado. Your scores: 119-109, 118-110, 117-111. You literally had the best seat in the house in the front row. Mario, your thoughts on the development of young Munguia?
First of all, it was a fun night of fights. The place was packed, had a lot of energy. That was the first card from Golden Boy with a packed house because, you know, this whole COVID and what have you. And people were ready for it. They came early, which was nice to see. And they were happy. And what a great night of fights. As far as Jaime Munguia, man, first of all, I'm always going to be a little biased, and I get a special place in my heart because he's from Tijuana and I'm from Chula Vista, which is in the backyard there. And he's trained by one of my all-time favorite fighters, El Terrible, Erik Morales. And I think he has done a wonderful job in developing Munguia, not changing who he is, but just refining and bringing out a more polished style, defensive-minded. I saw a lot more head movement. I saw a lot more patience and placement with his punches. Nice combinations that were tight and compact. Man, and I don't know if it was that youthful energy, but my guy kept up a hellacious pace for 12 rounds. He looked fantastic. He really did. And credit to Rosado, too, who in the middle of those punches and bunches, because it was fast and furious, he had some nice counter shots. I even thought he buzzed him a couple times. But again, I think it was the youth of Munguia and the confidence and the fact that he's developed a lot, because he's got a lot of fights for a young guy, that he was just too much to handle and he was outworking Gabe, who I thought had a good game plan, but it was just too little, too late in some spots. Could never really get off and was overwhelmed at one point. Snuck a couple nice counters in there. It was the most entertaining one-sided fight that I've seen in a long time, if that makes any sense. And I credit both fighters. Freddie Roach did a great job with Rosado. Morales did a great job with Munguia. But really happy with the development of Munguia. And that was a really, really impressive showing and an exclamation point on what I thought was a great night of fights.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the undercard later. Mario, you talked about the evolving of a style. And that's the thing about a trainer, no matter who it is. It's not to change a fighter or to even make him better. It's to make him the best version of you.
You can adopt. It's not like the NFL where you adopt certain players regardless and you make them fit your system. And Alcazar, who was De La Hoya's first trainer, and God bless him, great guy, but you can't have a guy on his toes a la Oscar when it's not really his style and his beat. And he had some success with it, but once you get to a certain level, you got to be who you are. And I think Munguia is a more athletic, more Margarito type fighter than a De La Hoya type fighter. And I really like what I see. He's a big kid for that weight class. I got to see both the guys in the back prior to, you know, and he's in a good mood. That's a fun camp. And I thought they had a really impressive showing.
You know, after the Dennis Hogan fight a couple of years ago when he was still the WBO 54-pound champion, it was at that point that Zanford Promotions, the lead promoter, said, this ain't working. Square peg, round hole. Let's get Morales. One thing I noticed, he is doing a better job of using the jab defensively.
Yes.
Hiding that chin inside.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's a ramrod now, but it's defensive.
Kim, I was noticing he was setting up all his shots with a hard jab right down the middle in the body, the way Morales used to do it. But it's nice. Boom, right down the middle, and he started popping it upstairs. Boom, right downstairs. He started thinking about going upstairs. Then he'd come inside with a lot of quick combos. But that nice stiff jab, everything was followed with a nice stiff jab. And I really like that he's setting up because he's a long guy with a hard jab, and he wasn't utilizing those tools before.
Also, he's doing a better job. Again, he's going to be hittable. That's what he is. That's his style of tucking in the chin. So it's not the Pez dispenser.
Exactly.
Also, talk about nuance. He got hit. He got buzzed a couple times.
Well, it's a fight.
But he's also rolling with punches now.
Rolling with a lot of punches.
Didn't see that before.
Face, not a lot of damage. No, exactly. I thought he was even parrying some punches. Look, he got caught with some shots because, after all, it is a fight. And Rosado's a sharp guy. And he's a really good counter puncher. I mean, ask Beck the Bully. Yeah. So I thought defensively he's really made some huge strides.
You know, Mario, late in that fight, as you could see Rosado trying to think 2-3 steps ahead, saying, okay, you're going to hit me here and there, but 15 seconds down the line, I'm setting up this one right hand. I thought Munguia was better off just sticking inside and staying inside, because when he pulled apart in the mid-range
was tough.
That's where he saw some of the blind spots really crop up. But overall, under 4 fights, under the tutelage of Erik Morales, he's trending in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about his future a little bit later. Also on this very entertaining card put together by Robert Diaz, Alexis Rocha pounds out a 9th-round knockout over Giovannis Barrazas, and lightweight sensation Jumbo Camarón William Zepeda is must-see TV, just absolutely whipping John Vincent Moralde in 4. Mario, Rocha had that tough loss to the quick, slick fighter out of the East Coast, Rashidi Ellis. You know what? Tough loss. He learned from it. When this generation of welterweights eventually moves up and there's a new wave coming up, I think he'll be right in the mix for a title shot.
Yeah, my wife was with me at the fights, and she even commented, she's all, wow, his punches are pretty.
Yeah.
They go together nice. I go, yeah, that's a good observation, because they are. His placement of his punches, man, and what a tough. Are all Colombians just super tough? That kid was tough. He was taking a serious beating to the body and the end. They stopped the fight mercifully, and it wasn't even like he wasn't answering. I think it was just the poor ref. It was like, oh my gosh, you got to save him from himself at one time. At some point, and I thought he looked sharp. I thought he mixed it up going upstairs and downstairs, and he looked really confident in that fight. I think he's a dangerous out for anyone in that weight class. That was very impressive. Southpaw, he looked good.
Yeah, against Rashidi Ellis, the reflexes and the quickness gave him problems, and Rocha learned one thing. Sometimes you just better initiate. Don't worry about what's coming back.
Right.
You're going to get hit at certain times. In this particular fight, I think he really found himself that, hey, I'm a volume pressure fighter. That's what I have to be. And Mario, William Zepeda, this guy has no feel-out rounds. From the time that bell rings,
Love that.
He's punching left, right, down the middle, up and down, left, right. He suffocates you in leather. And I'm going to say this right now, and I tweeted it on Saturday. I want him against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia keeps talking about, I want to be a legend. I'll take on anybody. Okay, the shrimp.
Listen,
Face Zepeda.
of course, I'd love to see that.
But here comes the but.
He's all wrong for us, baby.
Oh,
you don't want that
you got that one out.
You don't want that kind of fight. Look, a guy, he's supremely confident, and like you said, he loves to let his hands go from the get. I love a fighter that just overwhelms you with pressure, calculated pressure, and lets his hands fly. It's always going to be exciting. A good defensive-minded fighter who's a counterpuncher might be able to catch him, but your best defense in that situation is all the punches that are coming in bunches. And so, yeah, get me some more Zepeda.
Moralde is a seasoned professional. Won a lot of rounds with Jamel Herring. He did something you don't see, though, because of the pressure of Zepeda. He actually turned his back. He just said, forget it, and the referee said, okay, it's over. You waved the white flag.
That's bad.
One thing about Zepeda, you better be warmed up in that locker room if you're the opponent, and you better be ready to defend yourself and stave him off. But he is must-see TV. Also, Saturday night from the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona, it was showtime, and the brother Benavidez were in action. Super middleweight David Benavidez remains undefeated, stopping the game Kyrone Davis in 7 rounds. In junior middleweight action, Jose Benavidez, quite frankly, very, very fortunate to wind up with a 10-round draw against Francisco Emmanuel Torres. Mario, did Benavidez, if this was an audition for Canelo, do you think he showed enough that the general public said, okay, that one right there?
I don't have a problem with it. I'll tell you why. Because he, to me, is still the champion. They stripped him.
And he's lost the title twice, actually.
Right. But he's never really lost it in the ring. So I think there's an argument that could be made, right, that he's still, quote, the real champ.
He's still undefeated.
Still undefeated, still the champ, never lost it in the ring. Yeah. So Canelo didn't beat the man to beat the man, if you want to get technical. But that's the truth. Storyline purposes, I think that's a great marketing point. You got a big, tall, super quick-handed Mexican guy. I don't have a problem with it at all. Yeah, look, he did what he does. He walks you down, lets those hands fly. He's a beast in there. Very, very impressive. Do I think he can beat Canelo? I don't think anybody can beat Canelo right now at the moment, but I think it's a fun fight. Look, the ones that'll give Canelo fits, somebody who's fleet of foot.
Movement. Making him turn.
Right, that's not Benavidez. Benavidez is a big, strong kid. Super fast hands, which is unusual for that weight class and as big as he is. That can make it interesting. That can make it fun. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I'd love to see the fight, to be honest.
I want to give Kyrone Davis credit. Took the fight on late notice, more of a natural middleweight. Breadman did the humane thing by telling him, hey, you got one more round. And he said in the 7th, that's it. I'm not letting you get beat up. Let's live the fight another day. But unless you have the power to blunt Benavidez and make him get back on his heels and to reset and rethink, it's an avalanche.
Sure.
I mean, it's easy to say, well, keep it in the center of the ring. Right, the problem is the guy closes in on you and eventually backs you up.
And that's how Benavidez said he'd fight Canelo, too. Just putting it out there. I'm not going to back up. People try to box with him. He made a good point, actually. People try to box with him. Canelo's too slick for it. He doesn't even jab anymore. Canelo's so good. He just bobs and weaves his way in because he can measure distance so well. He doesn't have to jab anymore. And he gets inside, and then he unleashes his beautiful combinations. Benavidez, with that long jab and the pressure, I think he's got so much confidence in his speed, his hand speed, and I actually think he is faster than Canelo hand speed-wise, but it remains to be seen whether he can counter those counters.
Exactly. We have not seen Canelo with a true pressure volume fighter in a very long time. However, I do believe that Benavidez's strength becomes his liability. Because one thing about Benavidez that I noticed when he's letting a lot of his punches go, a bit of a wide frame. Canelo is a sharpshooter.
That's a big target for Canelo, too.
Yes,
exactly.
And I'm just telling you, he leaves wide swaths of openings down the middle. So it would be the pressure of Benavidez against the precision of Canelo. And look, Canelo may not be Julian Jackson, but as I said last week, I think he's by far the best puncher Benavidez has ever faced.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a certain accuracy to what he does. So, look, would it be a fun fight? Yes. Another thing. A lot of people made a big deal of the fact that Benavidez came in at 169 and not 168, the super middleweight level. Folks, the contract for non-title fights, which this was, they're never at the actual weight limit. It's always 168 plus 1 or 2.
You usually get a 2-pound allowance.
Right. And so if you're a fighter, and if they say, Steve, you could put on 2 more pounds before the weigh-in, there's not a fighter that says, no, I'm going to make, no.
Yeah, no, I didn't read into
that
too much. I didn't read into that too much. He'd be making weight for that Canelo fight, I'll tell you that.
For that much money, he'll cut off a big toe.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, early Saturday afternoon, Mario, I'll be honest, this was a card I did not have much interest in, but as Larry Merchant says, Steve, that's why you fight the fight. Stuff happens. First of all, let's talk about the WBO/IBF Women's Junior Lightweight Championship fight. And Alicia, the Baumgardner, literally knocks out Terry Harper on her feet. Literally.
Yo, 2 weeks in a row now, the ladies have impressed me.
Yes.
I'm like starting to become a serious fan.
Uh-oh.
And the crazy thing is she's in the same weight class as Michaela.
Uh-oh.
Mayer, we got to put that fight up because that was a beautiful counter right hand. She got a hard, stiff jab to the belly, and then she took a little step back.
Bang.
Boom, right over the top. I mean, pretty. Literally out on her feet. She was knocked out on her feet, and the ref did a great job jumping in because it could have been real ugly had he not, but that was nice.
I got to give Miss Baumgardner credit because she was the road fighter. Things are not set up for her to win.
Yes.
Terry Harper had been getting a
Great
promotional
celebration.
push from Matchroom. She brought her own judges, as did Kiko Man Martinez, who's the new IBF featherweight titleist, knocking out Kid Galahad. Mario, I got a question. In the 5th round, Galahad gets buzzed and knocked down. Literally in the 6th round, the first punch stiffens him. I want to question the corner. What did you see in that minute that made you think, yeah, let's come out here for the 6th? I thought that was a bad call. He never should have been allowed to come out.
No, I agree with you. You know, you want to give your fighter the benefit of the doubt. You put in all that time in the training camp. You figure, okay, one more round. Sometimes one more round.
And one more punch.
Exactly. It ends that way. So it's a real tough call. Fortunately, he didn't look like he was too badly hurt afterwards, but that was a pretty nasty knockout too.
Yes, so both Kiko Martinez and Alicia Baumgardner, when you start doing your year-end awards for knockouts of the year, I think they have to be invited to the banquet. No doubt about that.
Definitely. I hope the camera's got another angle.
Yeah.
From because we saw her back.
Yeah.
In that one particular. Hopefully we can see that because that was pretty.
Baumgardner, Michaela Mayer. That's a fight I would guarantee you, based on what we saw Saturday. Michaela would be going back to boxing in that fight. Yeah. Honestly, that's not a girl you want to trade punches with.
I want to watch that.
Oh, I like that.
I'm fired up about that.
And Mario, the big preview. It is fight week. It's upon us. I'll be out there in Las Vegas from the Mandalay Bay where the Flying Fishes play.
You like the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, I love that place.
Old school.
ESPN pay-per-view for the WBO welterweight title. Terrence Bud Crawford takes on Sean Porter. Mario, here's my view of it. Even though Crawford is a 6 or 7-1 favorite according to the odds makers, I get the sense that Crawford isn't just aiming to win. He's looking to outdo Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence. In fact, not just win by decision, but perhaps score a stoppage over a man that's never even really been badly hurt in a ring, in my view.
Not only that, an argument can be made that he won a lot of those fights that he was in. I was there with Kell Brook, very, very close fight. A lot of people thought it could have gone either way. I was there for Errol Spence. He was right neck and neck.
Take away the knockdown.
Take away the knockdown. That's what I'm saying. We're splitting hairs here. Forget getting stopped. No one's ever really beating him convincingly,
right?
To be honest, and those are the upper echelon world champions there. And Porter, to me, is the kind of guy that continues to get better. He always works hard. It's not the prettiest of styles, but it's grueling. It's effective.
4 yards and a cloud of dust.
Exactly. He fights you almost like a wrestler. Crawford is a little older. I'm not saying he's lost miles out the fastball because I love me some Crawford. I think he's one of the most talented guys out there. Not just skilled, but he's got that mean streak, ambidextrous, best ambidextrous boxer in the game. But Porter makes you work, man. And if you're a little off your game, or if you've lost a few miles off that fastball, a little tread on those tires, who knows? So you got to lean towards Crawford because he's Crawford. But this is a really interesting fight. We're going to see exactly where he is. If he is able to stop him and do it in impressive fashion, then...
Statement made.
Statement made. He's the man of the division, not Errol Spence, I think.
Mario, I know you're a big proponent of doing different combat sports, how it could complement what you do. Terrence Crawford does a little bit of grappling. His son's big into it.
His sons are big
wrestlers. He's got real good natural strength.
Yeah.
I think that's being underplayed here.
You're exactly right.
So if Porter tries to put the straitjacket on him, you know what? I actually think Crawford might be more comfortable than we think.
There's guys, I was having this conversation the other day. There's guys that are just heavy-handed guys, like a Golovkin, right? Just a heavy hand. Pacquiao, just heavy-handed, bonk, hits you. And there's guys that are just physically strong. Like a Mayweather didn't have heavy hands, but he was physically strong.
Yes, he was.
You never saw Mayweather get pushed around, moved around. He was stout in there. He was very, and that's the same thing with Crawford. Not necessarily bludgeon you with his blows, but he's strong in there. He's hard to kind of bully around. So Porter might have a tough time with that. And maybe I think that's the wrestling and the base itself. So there's different types of strength, and that can wear itself thin on his opponent as well.
The other factor for Crawford that I believe is an advantage, he's more versatile. Terrence Crawford
there's no one more versatile, yes.
is the greatest switch hitter since Mickey Mantle or Eddie Murray. He's the only guy that could box you 8 rounds right-handed and all of a sudden just seamlessly go southpaw and then knock you out with it. And he's long, he's lean, athletic, and I just think he's got more tools. Look, Sean Porter is the ultimate try-hard, stick-to-itiveness guy. But there's a reason why he's fallen up short at a certain level. And if Terrence Crawford is the guy we still think he is, which is among the top 2, 3, 4 fighters in the world, I think he wins this fight. The question is, can he stop him? That, to me, is the statement that he needs to make, is put an exclamation point and just hammer home the point. I'm the best damn welterweight in the world.
Yeah, I lean towards Crawford. I don't know if he's going to stop him just because no one has yet, and it is a little bit of an older Crawford. So I still think he gets away, and I think he gets away still in an impressive fashion. He can beat him up without stopping him. I just don't know, just because Porter's a tough guy.
Yeah, and not to shortchange Mr. Porter. He is by far the best 147-pounder, in my view, that Crawford has faced since he won this title from Jeff Horn in 2018.
It's going to be good.
And to put into perspective what type of fight this is, because we always talk about we need the best fighting the best.
Right.
Taking a look at the Ring Magazine welterweight rankings, number 1 is Errol Spence. His future's in the air. But number 2 is Terrence Crawford, followed by number 3, Yordenis Ugas. And Porter is number 4, followed by Boots Ennis at 5, and Virgil Ortiz comes in at 6.
I have no problem with that top 6.
So anytime you have the number 2 fighter, who many believe is actually the best fighter in the world pound for pound, against the number 4 fighter, boxing needs this matchup. So a tip of the cap to everyone.
Yes,
that
bravo,
made
gentlemen.
this happen. Also, Friday night from the SNHU Arena in New Hampshire on The Zone, the WBO middleweight title is on the line. Demetrius Andre takes on Jason Quigley, and also a buzzkill on this card. MJ Akhmadaliev will not be fighting Ronnie Rios. He came down with COVID. And also one of the most exciting fighters in the world, JC Martinez, the WBC flyweight titleist, takes on McWilliams Arroyo. Mario, we always talk about it's not if you win sometimes, it's how you win. Style points matter, like in the college football rankings. Demetrius Andrade is a guy that, I'll be honest, at times he's been avoided and other times he's been his own worst enemy. Quigley is a guy that I don't even think beat Shane Mosley Jr. the last fight, underneath the Haney-Linares fight.
Yeah, I agree.
I still can't get over how Toriano Johnson bullied him a year and a half, 2 years ago. This is a fight that Andrade, who I kind of feel bad for because I do think to a certain degree he's been avoided, make the statement. End this in the first half.
Look, it's on him now. Hopefully he listens to this because he's a talented guy, skilled guy. And I think he's avoided because it's an ugly style.
It is.
It's an ugly style for a fighter. And they're like, oh, they don't want any part of that. And it's not worth, the risk isn't worth the reward. But if he good thing he's got that title. But if he starts to make statement victories, okay, then opportunities might open up a little bit more. But this is it.
Mario, I remember.
If he stinks out the joint, Kim.
Right. Mario, I remember when he fought in Miami the weekend of the Super Bowl when the Chiefs played the Niners. And he fought this overmatched guy, and he scores early knockdowns. And then 9 rounds later, we're still there going, oh, my God, Demetrius, you had a shot to actually end this early. Yeah. And every round that went on, it kind of took away from the performance. Guys, it's not just a result. There's a context to this. Moving on to some news and notes. Mario, mark your calendar. Golden Boy in the Zone announced December 18th, San Antonio, Texas. Gilberto Ramirez takes on Yuneski Gonzalez. Co-feature is a young lady that we know very well, Sinicia Estrada. Mario, I'm going to be honest. As someone that likes Zurdo personally, we know his management at Brickhouse. Yuneski Gonzalez, I didn't know he was still fighting. This is kind of a big
Well, look, it's a title eliminator. I don't mind it. Apparently, when I was down there and talking with Eric and Oscar and stuff, Bivol was being difficult. But assuming he gets past this fight, because he can still crack, I remember Gonzalez. Yeah. Assuming he gets past this, and hopefully he'll continue to look good in doing so, then it's inevitable. And what I'm told, the Bivol fight will be made.
Bivol is going to fight December 11th in Russia. Told that by Vadim Kornilov, and they're saying, Steve, if we don't get Canelo, yes, we want to put Zurdo as the main focus for the spring of 2022, although he still has a mandatory looming against a very talented Joshua Buatsi. Fine, so those are options. But what we talked about with Andrade now applies to Ramirez. Yuneski Gonzalez, you're right, can punch, and he's willing. So again, I don't want one of these ZZZZ Zurdo fights where it just goes on and on and on. The sooner you could end this, the better it is for your case.
He made a nice statement in his last fight fighting here.
Sully B.
Sully B at the Bank of California, home of the LAFC. He's come a long way with his trainer, Julian Chua. If they continue down that same path and have another statement win, I think he's creating some buzz because I think he's a marketable guy.
Right.
So they look, everyone's sort of gunning for the Canelo sweepstakes, right? Best way that can happen for him is he beats Gonzalez, he fights Bivol, beats him, and then maybe you got a shot.
Absolutely. And also announced by the Zone, December 29th. This is actually a Wednesday morning from Japan.
Wednesday.
Triple G, Gennady Golovkin takes on Ryota Murata in a middleweight unification. Mario, I am curious. 2 years ago, I would have said, oh boy, this will be a worse bombing than Hiroshima. I don't know what version of Golovkin exists anymore.
First of all, Wednesday is tripping me out. I don't think I've ever seen a fight on a Wednesday.
It's a Japanese thing, though. They do fights in the middle of the week a lot of times.
Just to mix it up.
Right.
All right, good for the Japanese. Yeah. Do they still not applaud?
Very, very, very demure.
No. Remember when Buster Douglas and Tyson fought? Everyone, it was quiet as a mouse.
Aaron Snowell, who's in the corner of Mike Tyson, had a great quote. He said, "You could hear a rat pissing on cotton."
Yeah. Wow, that's quiet. That's quiet. And the only thing you heard is when Tyson got knocked out. Oh. Ooh. You heard a big oh. But yeah, it's almost eerie. It's so quiet. So I'm interested to see if that's still the case. Look, I love me some Triple G, but he's been around a while now. We don't know. He's gotten older.
Who
he's
is he now?
Older. We don't know. So I'm interested to see myself. And it's not like Murata. I don't think he's a pushover. I think Murata can actually
fight.
Big guy. Big dude, so we'll see. It's gonna be exciting to see.
Right. If before anyone starts making plans for Triple G against Canelo or Mongia, let's see what we have. It's been a full year since he beat Camille Zermeta in middle of December, and the business got in the way. And if he could dominate Murata as he would have, let's say, 3 years ago, then I'm like, okay, 2022, let's put him in the mix. All right, well, that's it for this segment of the 3 knockdown rule on Triller. We come back, we go to Ask Mario and Final Flurries. And we're back on the 3 knockdown rule on Triller with Steve Kim and Mario Lopez. Let's go to the Ask Mario segment. Before that, we have a comment from the legendary matchmaker Top Rank, who's an avid viewer of the 3 knockdown rule.
Oh, thank you very
Bruce
much.
Trampler.
Oh, I like Bruce.
And he admonished me. He said, Steve,
Well, you
you're
should.
blowing it, son. He went Angelo Dundee on me. He said, you had the perfect opportunity when discussing Robert Garcia not going with Virgil Ortiz and saying, unless you're Angelo Dundee, etc., to point out that Angelo Dundee indeed, in fact, stuck with Jimmy Ellis instead of Muhammad Ali when those two fought each other in 1971.
Talk about a fun fact.
Right, and he said, well, but when Miguel Diaz abandoned Floyd Mayweather as a cut man because he was also training Diego Corrales for their first fight, Floyd wouldn't take Miguel back afterwards. It's interesting.
Loyalty goes a long way.
Or sometimes it doesn't.
Well, it's a tough position. You don't want to go with the horse you think that can take you for a longer ride.
But then what if you're with the other guy longer, though? What if you started this kid at 0-0, but the other guy's worth a lot more money? I mean, that's a tough decision.
I think, if it's a superstar like a Mayweather or like a Canelo, I think I would have an honest conversation with the kid and say, hey, listen, I've been with you. If you really, really want me here, I'll be here. But if not, work with me on this one. I'll break you off a little.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll break you off a little. I'll take care of him a little. I'd at least offer that.
Remember Chuck Bodak?
Yeah, of course. All stickers.
Legendary, great guy. When Jorge Paez and De La Hoya fought, he worked with both guys extensively, and he said, I'm Switzerland. I'm out. I mean, so you can also make that decision.
You can also make, you know what? I didn't even think you're exactly right. I would still give him an offer. He may want to make extra cash.
This is
and
a
I have to
business.
say, you know what I mean? And if he says no, okay, cool, then I'm Switzerland.
Yeah.
I'm out. That's the route I take.
This is
I
a
like
business.
That. God bless Bodak. Exactly.
Here's one from B. Drews. Mario, with the new Rocky IV director's cut being released soon, is number 4 finally going to be number 1 with the 3 knockdown? I think you have it number 2, don't you?
I have it number 3 still. We were supposed to go see that. I still want to very much
We can
see
go see that, though.
the new
We'll
cut.
go,
No, you
yeah.
can't go over number 1. Number 1 started it all.
Still-
Number
still
1,
Rocky.
it won an Academy Award.
It's still Rocky.
Yeah, are you kidding me? And so I still go 1, 3, 4.
Wow, you still
2.
You still don't give 2 respect. You still don't.
No,
give-
I give it respect. It's on my Mount Rushmore.
It's actually better in your view after you watched it on vacation last year.
Yeah. It is better, but it's still 1, 3, 4, 2. That's the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I don't count Creed and all them. That's
It's
a whole
like
other.
if you're
You can't count Creed.
right.
Know that.
No, and it's like if you're a Nas fan, Illmatic will always be the greatest album.
Hey,
No,
I was
and-
at a thing not to deviate, but I was at had to do this quick event. And Nas was a special guest performer. And there was only like 50 people there. It was pretty awesome to see.
Love Nas.
My guy still sounds good. I don't thought about you.
Here's one from Michael Montero, a good friend of mine. If you're Team Mungia, do you go for the WBC belt, which is Jamal Charlo, the WBO, which is Andre, or the unified WBA/IBF champ, the winner of Golovkin Murata?
Okay.
Or do you take an interim bout in the meantime? If so, what? Now, I want to point out, in the WBC and WBO, Mungia is number 1. Keep that in mind.
If I had my choice, I would face the winner of Golovkin Murata, and especially assuming it's Golovkin.
Yes.
A little older, more lucrative than all those other fights, right?
Older guy, too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's
Favorable
older,
style.
more lucrative, and bigger opportunity. And this is the most important thing, to build my brand and make me a star.
I agree. But
And if he were not to be victorious, it's okay. I'm sure he would still probably be competitive. And it's a loss to Triple G, not the end of the world.
I just wonder, how would he handle getting hit by the jab right down the middle of Golovkin?
Well, that's the thing. Golovkin's power, we know, is the last to go. Look, but then you've got an ugly style in Andrade, who can pose a lot of problems with his ugly style. Charlo is no joke.
When I saw Charlo
So
struggle,
you've got exactly. I mean, look, I'm
struggle
not
over
saying,
the summer, I said, ooh, you know what? That's not the most impossible task.
No.
for Mungia.
But if I'm going to gamble, I'd rather gamble over the higher stakes.
And this is my latest column for Snack.com, K9's Corner. Both the WBO and WBC, they now need to mandate Mungia. He's had 4 fights at middleweight.
Yeah.
He's 25 years old.
Yep.
He's almost 40 fights in. I don't want to hear, well, he's still developing.
No.
How long?
No, he's ready.
Here's one from Clay Stevenson. Hey, Mario, I saw you at the fights with your boy Oscar and the Golden Boy crew. Any new scoops you can drop for fans? Mario, I got one. Call me Baskin Robbins. The rumors of their demise on the zone has been greatly exaggerated. They had meetings last week. My understanding is it went well.
Yeah, I'm hearing it went well too. They're still trying to make other deals with other outfits, which I think
I like that.
I really like that. I don't feel you necessarily have to be exclusive. Spread the love. Look, obviously, I asked about Ryan Garcia. Got one of these. What's that emoji with the hands in the air right there?
Really?
It's I don't know. We're waiting to see. It's all on him. When he wants to fight, they're ready to put a fight together. When I was talking to Jojo Diaz, who's very confident about his fight with Haney. I love Jojo, man. He's a good dude and a ballsy fighter, and he's ready to fight. He feels very confident about Haney. And so we're waiting to see. They're ready to make that fight with Garcia. I told you already that assuming Zordal beats Gonzalez, they're ready for that fight with Bivol, and they want to make that fight here in LA, which was good. Yeah, and then
Virgil Ortiz.
Oh, Virgil Ortiz. I'm sorry. That's who I talked to him about. So their next fight. So they think he's ready for a title shot this coming year. And they want to make his fight. They want to get him out of Dallas and him fight in LA, which is great. So I liked all that I heard.
Yes, and I believe having a secondary platform to specifically work on developmental shows is key. Because, I called a lot of those shows at the Belasco Theater alongside Beto and Doug. You look at that roster, that alumni, Mario, they developed a lot of guys. Solid fighters that became world champions, including Joseph Diaz.
Yes.
Ryan Garcia made an appearance. So those shows are important.
We saw him there.
Look, I still miss Telefutura Solo Boxeo. Friday night fights. Those shows to me are valuable within the scope of boxing. Big drama show, says Steve. Are you going to Japan? I think he means the Golovkin fight. Mario, look, I live with my decisions. I think with Japan, you need to quarantine. You got to be vaccinated. Look, I didn't go to the fight this past weekend because they dropped a late notice on the media. You guys have to show proof of vaccination, or there's a test you can do for $40 there. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
So do you just not plan on participating in society? Because they're going to start asking for that everywhere.
Well, they're not asking for it in Vegas this week.
Yeah, well, that's a wild, wild west.
Well, here's the question.
But you live in L.A.
I do, but
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it is what it is.
Right, but no, I'm going to live with my decisions. Here's the question. Did they ask all 10,000 people at the pond who weren't part of the media for their vaccination status?
They did, actually. I saw them.
Did they?
Yeah, they made them.
Interesting.
When you go to Dodger Stadium,
but I thought it was Orange County.
I know. I was surprised by it.
Terrible.
I was surprised by it. Yeah, but they made you show. I had to show the phone and the little thing. Yeah.
I'm good with it. I got to watch college football, Kansas, big upset over Texas. That was entertaining, and I got to watch the Showtime fights. I still got to watch Mungia.
I invited you for drinks.
It is what it is. I mean, I live with it. Here's one from J2 Nava 1. Can you see a Mungia Canelo fight happening down the line? And if so, how far down the line? If Mungia racks up a few significant wins, that could end up being a huge event.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. Not anytime soon.
That's interesting.
No, down the line, yeah, I'm talking way down the line. We're talking like a couple years. I don't see it happening anytime soon because I think Canelo has plenty of options right now. He's all about kind of trying to make history.
And they're in different divisions, too.
They're in different divisions. But he's a big kid. Who's to say he's not able to grow into 168, assuming Canelo even stays there. But it's a fight, I think, way down the line, if in fact it happens at all.
If I'm Mungia, I'm focusing on me. Let's build my resume. There are some fights out there. I'm improving. I'm getting better. Let's roll the dice. Here's one from Gino Tamayo. In your opinion, is Canelo avoiding black fighters? Can he beat Charlo, Andre?
It's the stupidest statement
Let me just answer this.
Boy.
He's not avoiding those black fighters any more than they're avoiding themselves.
He's fought whoever has the title.
And he's fought black fighters.
Of course he has. But he's fought whoever has a title. He can't help who has a title.
But, Gino, I have a question. How come Charlo and Andre, who are middleweight belt holders, how come they haven't fought? They haven't unified.
That would make a greater state for both of them and a greater case for them to face him.
Right. And look, everyone avoids everybody. It's not really about color. It's about economics, politics, and style. But again, Canelo
was trying to unify and consolidate all the titles. If you don't have a brother in there, then what? He's not supposed to fight him?
Right, exactly. But you want to draw like these conclusions. Again, I have a question. How many good black fighters have Charlo and Andre faced themselves?
Don't start using logic.
And I'll just leave it like that. Final flurries. Mario, you had an interesting Sunday. I'm looking at your social media. You were actually milking a cow or a goat?
No, I was milking a goat.
Oh, how was that?
Do you know the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco?
Never heard of him.
You never? What's the matter with you, Kim? You got to get outside.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. Super cool guy. He's hilarious. We've had him on the show right here, so he's really cool. So he invited me to a party he had and had a Western theme to it. And so,
Yeehaw!
Yeah, so, you were dressed in your best Yellowstone gear, went with all the kids. He's got 2 small kids. We were milking goats, doing country line dancing. He had like a mechanical bull.
I saw that. Nico was on that.
Nico was on that. So was the Lopezes were bringing the fun. We had a good time. He's a real cool guy.
So did you get to watch any football?
I didn't get to. I saw the
a little bit worried.
No, I did. I saw the end of my, or the second half, I should say, of my frustrating Chargers. Look, little concerned. The defense is non-existent at the moment. What happened? They forgot to tackle. And with that said, they're still in the mix at the top of the division. But I thought they might actually have like a nice little statement run this season, but I'm starting to get a little concerned.
You know what I don't like?
Especially with Staley. He's a defensive-minded coach.
And they're not very good defensively.
That's what I'm saying. Why do you think that is?
And let's be fair, our guy, Big Boy Herbert, he missed some throws.
He missed some throws. He still has some impressive numbers, but he missed some throws. But, yeah, they're getting to him quick, too.
And the other thing is with Staley, it's okay to just take field goals. Sometimes just take the points.
I know. I like the aggressive play calling at fourth down, but, yeah, let's once in a while.
By the way, the Chiefs, you know how everyone buried them 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They're in first place, and I think they figured it out. Just take the short passes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, I thought, played his best game in a long time because he just took the routine plays, and then later in the game, he went over the top. And, Mario, I'm going to say this again. Bill Belichick, the Bobby Fischer of football. Wow, they look good.
I know. Rat bastards.
Oh, Mario, how good is Yellowstone? People tell me it's the best show on TV.
Dude, this season is next level. It's like The Sopranos, but with cowboys.
Hee-haw.
He's like, Costner's like running a mob out there in the middle of Montana. It's so good. And it's like extra violent this year. It's really, really good. And they're going to do a prequel about how the ranch came with Tim McGraw and Faith Hill and Sam Elliott, which I'm looking forward to. I heard there's another one that Taylor Sheridan, the writer, the creator, I heard that was pretty good, that it's following Yellowstone, called Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner. I heard that was pretty good. But, man, Yellowstone's great right now. Because I finished Impeachment, which was solid. Did you finish it, Frazier?
Yes, I did.
The ending was a little
I thought the ending was kind of weird.
Well, because the ending basically showed that, you know what? Clinton ruined this girl's life and a lot of people's lives, and Linda Tripp. He just went on to carry on to be and was more popular than ever.
He just moved on.
Just moved on. You know, like whoopsie, and then just moved on. So it's kind of fascinating to look from that perspective. So now I'm finishing Yellowstone. I got 2 episodes to go with Billions, and I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. You don't watch that, huh? It's so funny.
I have so funny. For some reason, I lost track of it.
Well, because they take like 2-year breaks, but they're back and it's good.
You know what? Also back, Insecure, and I gotta be honest, it's the final season. The first 2 episodes,
dude, that's for chicks.
I thought was very, very awkward. But the last episode that I watched on Lawrence, I thought was very good. Now, have you started on Succession yet?
I haven't, because I told you I don't like to bounce around shows. I finished one show, so I finished Impeachment. I got it. Curb's the only one because it's only like half-hour episodes, so that doesn't really count. But my dramas, I've got 2 more Billions, and then I'm starting Succession, and then I'm starting Narcos.
I think Logan Roy is the best character on TV. When I grow up, I want to be like him.
You're already a salty bastard.
No, but to that level.
Oh, you mean you just want to be a salty bastard with money?
All the time. The funniest guy is Roman Roy.
Yeah.
I know that he's always been
Culkin's
like
brother.
the other brother, but that role
great.
is iconic.
He just hosted SNL.
Funny
He's so funny. He's like skeevy. He's good.
Yeah, like I don't know if he's gonna get it on with Jerry or not, which is kind of like this old mother stuff. Whatever. I think it's kind of creepy. Anyway, weekend plans. I'm gonna be in Vegas. What are you up to?
You know what? I actually have to go to Turks and Caicos for the weekend.
What?
Yeah, I got to shoot a Netflix show out there.
And chill.
No. There's no chilling. I'm going to be in the air more than I'm actually there. It's quite the jaunt. You get all the way over to the Caribbean. You got a flight to Miami, then you got another couple hours. That's crazy.
All right, so make sure you order the pay-per-view then, because next week we will review Porter Crawford.
I got that iPad. We're good to go.
Okay, all right. Well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule on Triller. On behalf of Mario Lopez, Smoke and Tim Frazier, Justin Buffalo Knuckles, and Tino, this is Steve Kim saying goodbye, everybody.